medication really has changed my life.
Experiencing just being in this lower state, like less confident, like less just like low. And
Taking sertraline the first week, I was pretty nauseous. My stomach was just not having a good time. I have therapy alongside taking sertraline because people that are starting to take sertraline, that they won't be able to live a normal life. Weight gain, let's talk about it. I can eat better because my throat isn't closing up as much. Please post when you're going to wean off. We really don't get any rest out here, do we? We can't even sleep. We can't even dream. We can't even have a moment to ourselves. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I feel really professional today because I've got a microphone and everything is running smoothly, touch wood. Yesterday I tried to film this video and my storage was ran out, the lighting was awful, everything that could go wrong was going wrong yesterday. We're here. It's all good. So as you guys might have found me from my sertraline videos, I thought I would kind of debunk and talk about sertraline from your perspective, from your comments. So the first comment is, "Hi all, great video, thank you. I'm on 200 milligrams of sertraline per day over the last 12 years. I'm fine. I work, I sport, and I raise 2 boys." So I'm just going to stop it as I'm reading it because otherwise I'm going to forget what I'm saying. There's a bit of fear of people that are starting to take sertraline, that they won't be able to live a normal life and they won't be able to do certain things. Now, the one thing that I've mentioned on my TikTok, drinking alcohol on sertraline, for me personally is kind of a no-go situation. I have not really been a heavy drinker throughout my life. I dabbled at uni and, had fun like a lot of people do. I've never been the type of person to be like, it's a routine to go out every weekend and drink. And so I have not struggled with not having alcohol. However, I did think, right, I'm gonna see if I can drink on sertraline, which you're not advised to do, by the way, so do not do this, thank you very much. So I was like, yeah, I'll have one with a meal, and then slowly thought, oh, I can cope with this, like, what are they on about, don't drink with sertraline? And to be completely transparent, there were times where I would drink what I usually would before with friends and things like that and, go on a night out. And there would be times that I would feel complete panics and have blanks in the night. For someone that struggles with OCD tendencies and symptoms, I struggled for a while with false memories and thinking something and thinking, oh my gosh, did that happen? Or am I, it was... Yeah, false memories with OCD is a whole thing, and it's really, really unnerving and not a very nice thing. You kind of start to not trust yourself with your thoughts, which is just a really scary place to be. That mixed with alcohol is really not good, and I would find that days after I would be in such a low mood. And I actually recently watched the Joe Weller video. He's a YouTuber, he's literally iconic, so funny. He was talking about his experience with not drinking alcohol and then drinking again and having such a down mood.
This whole day just made me realise how fun drinking actually can be. And I never thought I'd actually say that. I wake up the next day and the hangover then just lasts for probably the next 4 days. And this is the thing about drinking. I'm now, it's almost like I'm on a come down. I'm now experiencing just being in this lower state, less confident, less just low. And it's almost chemically in there. The hormones of the mind, they've been altered by the alcohol. And that's just now how I feel. So okay, yeah, firm it. It's just a hangover, mate. Everyone goes through it. Brilliant. But ultimately, this is why I stopped drinking.
And I think I've never really felt like that before, when I was young with alcohol. But I've definitely noticed it alongside taking sertraline. And I would just advise not to drink. So yes, you can live a normal life, but there's certain things drinking alcohol, and I don't take drugs, but I can assume that's a similar thing. Well, I don't take illegal drugs. I think that's something really to keep in mind. I have just completely kind of thought I'm just not going to drink anymore because it just makes me feel ill, and the lifestyle that I've kind of leaned into as I've got older, alcohol does get in the way of my lifestyle. I don't like to have had a drink before work or studying or gym, or like, I've just reached a point right now where my relationship with alcohol is need a break, and I think that is a completely another conversation to be had about alcohol and the way we view alcohol and blah blah blah. I'm not anti-alcohol, I'm not anti anything, I'm very open-minded, to what people choose to do in their life. But just personally, alcohol and sertraline just don't mix. We'll leave it there. Don't forget, though, that it takes up to 4 to 5 weeks for the medication to settle. Absolutely. I've had comments that talk about the side effects, which I'll get onto in a minute. It definitely takes a while for the medication to settle. One tablet won't change anything. Even if I miss a dose, it doesn't have any effect. I have had different experiences with that. I don't know if it's like a placebo effect, but if I've known that I've missed one, I do tend to feel a little bit weird the next day, like headaches and things like that. I guess it depends how sensitive your body is to the medication. Let's move on to the next comment. That brought up a lot for me, clearly. The next one is, it's amazing to hear someone describe exactly how I feel. Thank you for sharing. Absolutely. I think that is why I want to talk about it on such like an open level, because there was a doctor that was on Love Island. I can't remember his name. I'll put his picture here or here. And he talks quite openly about the fact that he lost his brother to, I think it was his brother to suicide, and talks about his own low mood and relationship with himself and his mental health. That was one of my inspirations to talk so openly about it, because I think that some people are quite secretive about taking sertraline. I think there is still that stigma of, oh, there's something wrong with you, or the anti-medication movement, which is a thing, and I can completely see and understand why people don't kind of want people to take medication, and I agree with it to the point of, I don't think that medication should be thrown at someone to fix a certain thing. I think that medication should usually live alongside long-term therapy, depending on the issue. I also think that medication really has changed my life. I said in my other videos that I have been kind of against medicinal kind of ways of, alleviating mental health stress. And I got to a point where I thought, do you know what? I really, really need some help. Like, I need some peace and I need some stability, even if it's just a little bit. Medication really has changed my life. Sertraline has definitely provided that for me. I would describe taking sertraline as, before, I would seriously panic and overthink about a lot of things, intrusive thoughts, and it would just completely spiral and impact my daily life. Now, the anxiety has moved on. I definitely still feel anxious, but it doesn't go as far. There's almost a block to my thoughts going to a certain extent. That's the best way I can describe it. So before, I would completely spiral. Now I'm able to sit with it, sometimes invite it, live alongside it rather than it take over me. This person also said, I am on day 3 and the side effects are awful with nausea and headaches. Absolutely. When I was taking sertraline the first week, I was pretty nauseous. My stomach was just not having a good time. I was super, super tired. I would say that when you're taking sertraline, self-care for the first week, 2, 3 is just the best thing that you can do. Have the bare minimum. Eat, sleep, work and rest. That's the best way. I find for headaches, this forehead thing really good. I put it on the screen. You just pop it on your head and it really helps soothe the headaches. This person also said, I appreciate you sharing this journey so I know what may happen. Thank you for this lovely comment, by the way. I really appreciate it and I'm glad that it helped. But I would also say that my experience with sertraline is, obviously yours might be different, yours might be better, yours might be worse, you might not get on with the medication. It really, really depends. I naturally obviously do welcome people that don't get on with it, because I think that's just as important. The next comment is, I'm so sorry for your loss, my deepest sympathies. Thank you. This video helps normalize the process of taking antidepressant medication and makes it seem a natural part of healing and recovery, integrated with therapy. Good luck and best wishes from across the pond. I'm first seeing this in June 2024, so I'm 6 to 7 months later. I hope you're doing great. Sincerely. And from ATLGA. I think I've kind of touched on this, like integrated with therapy, I would highly recommend. Like ultimately, I believe that I very much come from the approach that trauma is sometimes kind of deeply embedded in us as people. Like we are traumatized in like this kind of, I guess, Erikson perspective. He's like came up with the developmental stages alongside Freud. I think that as we're adding on traumas in our lives, big ones, small ones, traumas with a big T, traumas with a small t, we can forget them. So say if we meet someone and they really trigger something in us, and they do something that traumatizes us, it's kind of a perspective that sometimes that person can trigger, some sort of trauma that we experienced when we were younger. It might not be exactly the same thing, but some of those feelings of rejection or embarrassment, vulnerability may come from something else. That is kind of the trauma angle. So therapy is really important, because if I'm just taking sertraline to deal with, the loss of my dad, this is a personal thing, but this is just my experience. I started taking sertraline because when my dad was diagnosed with motor neuron disease and shortly died after that, I already had this anxiety, and then mixed with the uncertainty and the kind of existential anxiety and depression that was coming from my dad's diagnosis and soon death, I needed something to kind of balance me, because all of my lower trauma or other stuff was really difficult alongside the new stuff. I have therapy alongside taking sertraline because I have struggled with health anxiety, and the illness that my dad had really kind of triggered some of that within me. So then again, I took sertraline for a current situation, but if we look at the deeper trauma or the deeper kind of adverse experiences or irrational anxiety, self-anxiety that is below that still needs help alongside the present. Next, I want to move on to the hesitancy. So we've got a comment here that says, "Thank you for sharing. Started my prescription today. I was hesitant in the first place to take meds, which brought me here. Much appreciated." Although I kind of want to balance out my reassurance with, as I've mentioned, usually when I look for a piece of clothing or anything in life, I look through different sources, different websites to find the best price or the best kind of deal or quality of the item. Usually we do that. So if you're watching this right now and you're not sure whether to take them, watch my other videos. Also find other sources like articles, things like that. I can speak through research because I have researched about it, and I'm also bringing in my personal experiences as well. But yeah, just look around the internet and books and things and, other sources. Don't take my word for it. But yeah, that's just my opinion. That's why we're here. But I think it's really good to, if you're on this video and you're not sure whether to take them, I think that's a great step in the right direction, because I think that an informed choice is usually what people do when they take these medications. I think there's this kind of assumption that people just take it and that's that, expect things to get better. And whilst I think that's like with anything in life, people think they're going to go to therapy and it's going to fix them and the first 2 sessions and whatnot. You seem so calm here. What other meds are you taking to stay calm? I probably usually come across as quite calm, but that's just how I show on the outside. Usually I'm around a lot of silence. That is how I stay calm. I like silent spaces, slow moving vibes. I go to the gym, which really helps alleviate stress and allows me to be fast paced in a controlled manner to then calm when I get home. I might come across as calm, but this is just me sat down talking to you. I'm probably quite, I'm a little bit, I've got pins and needles. I need to sit back, sorry. Oh, I've got pins and needles in my feet. Oh. Usually probably do come across as quite calm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's the full picture usually for people. When I filmed that video, I think I was very tired. I think when I have filmed certain videos about my journey with sertraline, unfortunately I have been through a lot with losing my dad so suddenly, and I think you are in shock for a while, and I think that sometimes that can come across as being calm. It's like if someone's angry, sometimes that can just be anxiety. they just are expressing it in a very angry way. So for me, it's not really other medication that I take to stay calm. It's lifestyle choices and also just how I present. So yeah, that's a really interesting question. I'm not always calm, but I think I come across like that, but it's different for everyone what's going on in their head, I guess. Any insomnia, night sweats and weight gain on these? Right, weight gain, let's talk about it. I don't think I've experienced any like weight gain directly from taking the tablet, but my anxiety used to really interfere with eating, and I really used to struggle. I kind of had a strange relationship with food. I can make another video on that in the future, but strange relationship with food. I mean, like, you know, a disordered like relationship with food. So I had that anyway because I was so anxious. My throat used to close up, so it used to be my throat would like make it harder for me to swallow, or it would make me feel quite sick. So I struggled with eating enough, so I was underweight. Now I don't have the physical symptoms as much. I can eat better because my throat isn't closing up as much. I've definitely reframed my relationship with food 100%. I think it's a gift somewhat, you know, to be able to put on weight from my lived experience. Like, I think from being around my dad, who was losing weight quite rapidly, just losing muscle basically from his illness. For me, fluctuating in weight is okay. So I've changed my relationship with weight gain. I think that if you are worried about putting on weight when taking sertraline, take that to therapy and explore your relationship with why is it bad to put on weight. You can probably still be healthy with a bit more weight gain depending on your weight and whatnot. Yeah, everyone's different. Like, some people put on weight on the pill, and it's just weighing that up. Like, I was at a point where I just wanted to take sertraline and I just wanted to have some relief, and whether that made me put on a few pounds was kind of irrelevant. It definitely crossed my mind, but also I'm in a position where I am, you know, present as a smaller build. I don't have the stigma that other people may have that are of a larger frame. So I'm sat in like a societally privileged position, you know, in this culture of like, you know, so I can't comment because I'm not in a bigger frame. There's that as well. So me putting on a few pounds or whatnot, kilograms, might not be able to really tell. I feel so much more healthier with more weight gain. I think that I could go into this in so much more depth, but there's a lot of misconceptions. Being overweight and BMI is very old, and some evidence actually shows that staying at one weight rather than fluctuating is actually more healthy. Maybe that's an interesting thing to explore, is your relationship with weight gain. Yeah, that just might, you know, why has that come up? Insomnia, not really. Night sweats, yes, I did. The first few days, I was sleeping a lot during the first few days. I was absolutely just completely knackered. I'm still unsure whether to take them. I've been prescribed 50 milligrams of sertraline, but I take meds for diabetes, high blood pressure, and meds for overactive thyroid, but the doctor said it would be okay. I've had a lot of comments about pre-existing conditions alongside taking sertraline. Honestly, the best thing that you can do is do your own research, speak to your doctor, and maybe speak to another doctor, get different opinions. That's what I will say on that. I have debilitating anxiety and severe panic attacks which have led to agoraphobia. I've been prescribed sertraline, but not taken them. The side effect that terrifies me is increased panic. If my panic were to get worse than it already is, I could not cope. I don't know what to do. Now, this is kind of, I guess, the cycle of anxiety that comes with sertraline, or the prospect of taking it. I was scared about this too. I found that my anxiety did get a little bit worse, to be honest with you, but it wasn't so much the thoughts, it was more so the physical symptoms. I would say that come to an acceptance that perhaps this might happen and just let it happen. Reassure yourself, maybe have more therapy sessions, have someone around you that you can trust. Do you have a pet that you can really like co-regulate with emotionally? It's not going to be easy, but I think I was honestly at a point where I just needed to take them, and I was ready to maybe come to a place where you're more relaxed and more resilient and then take them. I didn't find that it got crazy bad. You're going to start taking 50 milligrams, which is, I think, the second to lowest dose. I think more American doctors prescribe 25. I think 50 is usually the bog standard over here. See if you could start taking a smaller dose. Also, a different type of medication, maybe have a look into that. But I really empathise with that. And I hope that you are doing a little bit better. If you commented this, let me know in the comments how you're doing, if you recognise your comment. Please post when you're going to wean off. I honestly don't see myself coming off sertraline. Maybe until I have kids. I don't know. Like, I just don't see myself coming off of it. It would be interesting to come off of it and see how I am, and I can always go back on it, so maybe I'll do that, at some point, but I don't think I'm there yet, to be honest. I had nightmares the second day. Yeah, I have found as well that my dreams have been quite lucid and visual since taking sertraline. I think that they haven't been scary, but I think that naturally our kind of subconscious mind plays out in our sleep. Things that we've kind of pushed back throughout the day can come out in our sleep. We really don't get any rest out here, do we? We can't even sleep. We can't even dream. We can't even have a moment to ourselves without our subconscious or unconscious mind just coming through and being like, do you know what? I'm going to ruin tonight. When I have an outlet, talking to friends, journaling, really bringing out those feelings and not pushing them back, I find that my nightmares are not as bad. 1 month into my sertraline journey, can't believe I caved. Always trying to be as natural as possible. I can relate to that. But after the bereavement of my dad and severely traumatic time, I decided I needed help. Symptoms being high anxiety, barely able to function, depression, irrational thoughts. I can honestly say overall they're helping me a lot. Stabilizes the wild mood swings. I had to ride out some side effects, still am. Just up my dose to 100 to see how I get on. Definitely worth a try, and you can always come off them if they don't suit you. Taking good care of health, self, diet, water is essential. Thanks, Meg. Lovely comment. Thank you so much for taking the time to comment this. Again, I can relate with like trying to do the whole natural remedy thing. Like, I think, altering your life and trying to function in a different way, brilliant. Does that help? No. I think that therapy, and things like that can help. I do believe that medication for certain people, for certain categories of situational, traumas or mental health situations, can be a last resort. There's some people, who struggle with borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, that really need the medication to function or to not, for their symptoms to not be as bad, because some of the symptoms are like more of a psychosis element, right? I think that it can be a last resort for some people, medication, so it feels like that's kind of what's going on here. I hope you're doing well, and I am so sorry about your loss. I can relate to that traumatic time. One thing I will say, because of the comment of water here, some stuff I've seen on social media is that no one talks about sertraline, like, in the summer periods, or where if you're hot or exercising a lot, it's important to drink a lot of water, because you can get heat stroke and things like that easier on sertraline, which I just found out. So yeah, again, goes back to my point of kind of not expecting the tablet to completely solve everything. A healthy lifestyle alongside diet, water and therapy helps. Like, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that it works alongside other positive things. It's not just like, I'm taking a tablet and I'm fixed. Like, I don't think we can like pinpoint anything that fixes us. Like, the one thing fixes all kind of vibe. I don't agree with that. The exhaustion is a struggle. I'm on my first week. I'm supposed to go up to 100 a couple days. I started out taking it in the morning with breakfast, but it was needing naps during the day. I don't normally nap, so I switched to taking it at night. Okay, so I started taking it in the morning. Now I take it at night time. I find that waking up really is a struggle. Like, I am so tired and fatigued for no reason, even when I've had like 8 hours of sleep, 12 hours of sleep, 6 hours of sleep. I'm knackered. Once I'm up, I'm okay, but it's just waking up, I'm still exhausted. But yeah, I still experience that. It's not as bad as it was. when I first started taking them. However, now I have trouble sleeping, restless legs at night, clenching my teeth more. It was already an issue. I would go back to, if that was already an issue, mindfulness at night. I want to get into is meditation and kind of sitting with silence a lot more. An exercise that you can do, kind of a therapeutic, kind of cognitive behavioural therapy one, is to sit with silence for 5 minutes, see what comes into your head. Keep doing that every day. Write down what comes into your head. Another exercise that sometimes you can do is have a 5-minute stress period zone that you have throughout the day. Go through it and then think, right, that's it, done for the worry. And then throughout the days you can think, okay, cool, I'm worried about this right now, I'm going to save that for my worry period tomorrow. And usually you won't even remember what that was. Just like, those kind of things. There's also many cognitive behavioural therapy, or DPT books, dialectical behavioural therapy, I can't pronounce that, books that are self kind of done. You can do it with a therapist or on your own. I think that I would recommend that. I'd be interested to see how you're getting on now. It seems like you're quite in the early periods, so that hopefully has gone with time, but let me know in the comments. The nausea seems better, but still having chest pains, tightness. I did experience that, chest pains and tightness, which was not nice, but again, it did go away. Fortunately, I had taken some time off work to give myself a break and adjust to the meds. Iconic. I don't think I'd be able to get through my regular 12-hour shift like this. I'm hoping it passes soon. I'm hoping it passed soon for you too, because it definitely did for me. I think that something that I would recommend, if you can, if your work does allow, is to take some time off if you can, if you're, taking the medication, or start it on a Friday. And you've got the weekend, or, start it when you've got time off, on holiday or something. This happens to me as well. I get the runs too, and I'm not as hungry as much anymore. I found that my hunger declined when I was taking it, but now it's I kind of have a normal hunger threshold, and I definitely had a bad stomach, as I mentioned, when I started the medication. I started antidepressants like 3 days. And is it normal to have nausea every time I'm taking my pills? After some hours, my nausea is rising and I start to think I can't continue using them because I don't want to have the nausea. I think, honestly, a lot of these comments have a similar theme of struggling with the side effects. They can last for, a week, and then they'll kind of slow down. I would honestly say keep yourself going with them for 6 weeks and see how you get on. It's super normal. If you are thinking, I'm feeling nauseous. On the NHS website, they will say the side effects and when to call, if things escalate. I think it's really, really hard with a medication like this because some people taking them might be anxious over physical symptoms and struggle with health anxiety anyway. So just be mindful of that. I hope this video has provided a bit of reassurance and knowledge and personal experience and myth bunking. Is that myth bunking? No, myth debunking. I upload every single week. I upload vlogs and I'm a small YouTuber. I basically upload loads of stuff, and if you are interested in joining the channel, make sure you subscribe. We're nearly at 2,000 subscribers. So yes, thank you so much to everyone who comments on my videos like this and shares their experience. And if you disagree, please feel free to comment below. As always, take care everyone. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next one.